At the beginning of each month, we plan for the monthly expenses and also jot down the monthly income likely to be received. Then we try to do some investment and save some money for unexpected events like medical emergencies. Now, apart from this monthly planning, we also plan for upcoming EMIs for insurance or loans taken. We also plan for travel likely to be undertaken in summer or Diwali vacations. Sometimes plan goes well, or sometimes it needs changes to accommodate additional expenses like new TV, new furniture, or additional expenditure or additional investment. In short, what we do here is a short or medium term financial planning at individual level. In the same way, country also needs to do a plan for short or medium term for its income, expenses, investment and contingencies. In this video, we will talk about a newly formed body called NITI Aayog and how it differs from its earlier version, that is Planning Commission, both created for the purpose of country level planning. Let us first understand in short the start of these efforts. The Planning Commission was set up in March 1950 by resolution of the government. It was made responsible for assessing national resources and drafting 5-year plans for effective use of the resources. The objective was, with the proper allocation and utilization, we could grow and prosper post our independence. But like any other old institutions, it had developed some flaws over the years. Hence, to assess the flaws in planning commissions and to overcome these flaws, NITI Aayog, that is National Institute for Transforming India, was formed. It is said that it was established as a replacement for Planning Commission after extensive consultation across the spectrum of stakeholders, including state governments, domain experts, and other relevant institutions. In its form, it is a Government of India policy think tank, formed on 1st January 2015 by a resolution of government and hence making it an executive body. Executive body means the one that derives its power from the resolution, unlike the statutory or constitutional body which derive their power from a law passed by Parliament or from Constitution of India respectively. The word policy think tank means a body of experts providing advice and ideas on specific political or economic problems and policy making. Now let us talk about the composition of NITI Aayog. NITI Aayog will be headed by the Prime Minister, who will be the chairperson. The Prime Minister will appoint a vice chairperson and a chief executive officer, that is CEO. The CEO will be appointed for a fixed tenure and is a secretary level position. The organization will have full-time members. Numbers are not specified yet, but currently there are 3 and up to 2 part-time members on a rotational basis from leading universities, research organizations and other relevant institutions. It will also have up to 4 ex officio members from the Union Councils of Ministers who will be nominated by the Prime Minister. Then there will be special invitees nominated by the Prime Minister who are experts, specialists and practitioners with relevant domain knowledge. Earlier we said CEO will be secretary level position, and in all likelihood, which means in future when organization will expand, the secretariat will be formed under him. Presently it is not existing. While this will be the full-time organization structure, the new institution will also comprise a governing council which will include state chief ministers and lieutenant governors of union territories. A provision existing to convene regional councils to address specific issues and contingencies have an impact on more than one state or region for a specific tenure. So if you look at the whole structure together and in terms of reporting and hierarchy, the organization chart would look something like this. Now let us go through the objectives of NITI Aayog one by one. To make an administration paradigm in which the government is an enabler rather than a provider of first and last resort. To progress from food security to focus on a mix of agricultural production as well as actual returns that farmers get from their produce. Ensure that India becomes an active player in the debates and deliberations on the global commons, the oceans, the atmosphere, the outer space, etc. Ensures that the economically vibrant middle class remains engaged and its potential is fully realized for their as well as country's betterment. On the same lines, to leverage India's pool of entrepreneurial, scientific and intellectual human capital, and also to incorporate the significant geo-economic and geopolitical strength of the non-resident Indian community, that is the NRIs. To use urbanization as an opportunity to create a wholesome and secure habitat through the use of modern technology. And lastly, an important objective, to use technology to reduce opacity and potential of misadventures in governance. So we have seen the objectives. Now let's see its functions which are also in line to achieve the objectives, like to evolve a shared vision of national development priorities, sectors and strategies with the active involvement of states in the light of national objectives, to foster cooperative federalism through structured support initiatives and mechanisms with the states on a continuous basis, recognizing that strong states make a strong nation, to develop mechanisms to formulate credible plans at the village level and aggregate these progressively at the higher levels of government, to ensure on areas that are specifically referred to it that the interests of national security are incorporated in economic strategy and policy, to pay special attention to the sections of our society that may be at risk of not benefiting adequately from economic progress, to design strategic and long-term policy and program frameworks and initiatives and monitor their progress and their efficacy. The lessons learned through monitoring and feedback will be used for making innovative improvements, including necessary mid-course corrections. To provide advice and encourage partnerships between the stakeholders and national and international like-minded think tanks, as well as educational and policy research institutions. To create a knowledge, innovation and entrepreneurial support system through a collaborative community of national and international experts, practitioners and other partners. To offer a platform for resolution of intersectoral and interdepartmental issues in order to accelerate the implementation of development agenda. To maintain a state-of-the-art resource center to be a repository of research on good governance and best practices in sustainable and equitable development, as well as help their dissemination to stakeholders. To focus on technology upgradation and capacity building for implementation of programs and initiatives, and also to actively monitor and evaluate the implementation, including the identification of the needed resources so as to strengthen the probability of success and scope of delivery. And lastly, to undertake any other activities as may be necessary in order to further execution of the already implemented national development agenda or the one in process and the objectives we have so far discussed. Let us now understand the difference between NITI Aayog and Planning Commission on the basis of these 5 parameters, that is financial power, full-time members, part-time members, role of state, member secretary and approach. Like Planning Commission, NITI Aayog too is an advisory body or a think tank, but an important departure is the power to allocate funds is now vested with the Finance Ministry, while earlier Planning Commission enjoyed the powers to allocate funds to ministries and the state governments, which gave an upper hand to Planning Commission. The number of full-time members are fewer than Planning Commission. The last Planning Commission had 8 full-time members looking after some specific policy issues and drive the commitment of government. The new body have fewer members, currently 3. They are heading different task force formed to tackle the biggest problems head on, and is most likely that their numbers will also increase in future. NITI Aayog have some members as part-time members, whereas Planning Commission had no provision for part-time members, which was important demand so that their expertise and domain knowledge could be used as and when required. State governments are expected to play a more significant role with NITI Aayog than they did in the Planning Commission. In Planning Commission, the state's role was limited to the National Development Council and annual interactions during plan meetings, which was severely criticized on many accounts by states due to upper hand playing by the Planning Commission. The post of member secretary, to be known as the CEO, appointed by the PM in NITI Aayog, while earlier government secretaries or member secretaries were appointed to this position in the Planning Commission. The most important change is brought in the working style. Planning Commission work with top-down approach, while in NITI Aayog, bottom-up approach is used, wherein expectations and planning begin at grassroots level, that is the village. In this video, we saw NITI Aayog, its functions and objectives, and how it differs from the Planning Commission. Though it will carry on some of the similar functions of its predecessor, it is built for the modern times. Hope it proves as beneficial as it ought to be and find solutions to India's most pressing problems. This video was brought to you by Synergy Study Point Pune. Stay tuned for more such videos. You can also write to us on admin@upscmantra.com. And for more information, please visit our website www.upscmantra.com. Thank you.